Hey guys, welcome to the Color Me Mike podcast. So just a quick disclaimer up here at the top. Anything said during this podcast only reflects on me and or the guest. Sonity has nothing to do at all with anything that's being said here. Sonity is just a cool boba milk tea shop in Fremont, California that is kind enough to let us record the podcast here at their shop and kind enough to hook us up with some boba milk tea drinks. So everybody just chill and enjoy the episode. Do a little clap, give it some little stick too. You can clap too, I guess, if you want. Jamar Pizza dude, sorry. I'm running hella late today, man.
It's all good, man. It's all good. This is CP time for real. So,
oh man, I did a typical Mike, dude. This is something my wife always gets on me about. I'm not forgetful about appointments and events and dates like that, but in terms of items,
little things.
I'll always forget like the most obvious thing. Like today, the camera. You would think out of all the things I wouldn't forget, right?
Hey, man. I mean, I personally have an excuse built in. You know what I'm saying? I have habits that I get into that, make it hard for me to remember certain.
Sort of messes with memory.
Yeah, messes
supposedly.
with details, little details. So I'm not here to judge anybody.
Do you find it really does affect memory?
No, actually, no.
I've never found it too.
Everything I want to remember, I remember.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same thing with old age. Like my wife likes to give me shit about getting old because I'm 41. I know I don't look it. You're 35, right?
Yeah.
You don't look it either. Obviously, black don't crack.
It does not.
You guys age better than Asians, like I say in my bit, man.
For the most part, yeah. As long as we don't get too heavy on the crack, we keep it together. But if you,
but you guys look great, like 70, 80 years old. You guys still look amazing.
Yeah, I'm hoping I can keep it going for that long. But yeah.
No, we start falling apart at that age.
Yeah, I mean, it depends, man. I think, I've seen all kinds of people look good to their older.
That's true.
It's just all a matter. I think half of it is just how you feel inside.
You think so?
I think so, man. I think a lot of people, like I've seen old people just exude a young energy, even if they didn't look it. You know what I mean? And like you can it almost can deceive you. Not like deceive you, but you know what I mean? Like you can almost be like, oh, okay, there's like this like veneer over you of like, oh, you don't seem as old as you are because you have like a younger, hipper energy to you, even if you got like the little thing on your neck and the giblets and all that, I can see through that. Okay.
Do you feel 35 on the inside?
As far as like my bones and my muscles?
No, I mean like, because when we're growing up, like I remember like, oh, when I'm 16, I'm gonna feel hella different. Oh, when I'm 18, on the inside, like just emotionally, mentally, I'm gonna feel so different when I'm 21. But for me, I haven't felt a difference at all.
I mean, I'm definitely different with my thought processes and stuff like that. I was way more reactionary as a young person, way more just like impulsive. I'm still a little impulsive, I think like at the base of who you are doesn't really change, but you learn as you get older, as long as you're smart, I think, you learn, okay, I got to refine certain things or I got to make certain things better. About myself because like those things aren't doing me well in life or these things are like ruining relationships or whatever it might be. So, you kind of make adjustments and, but you still who you are, are who you are.
Yeah, it's funny that you worded it that way because I was talking to my wife about it. I guess this podcast is just turning into my wife shitting on me and I'm telling people about it. But
that's what happens when you get married. That's your mistake, bro.
No, I mean, we're all comics, so there's always that level
Sorry,
of
Mike's wife.
Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, Chris. No, because she was asking me, if I'm still like immature, and I'm older. I say I don't think that really goes away. It's just other stuff gets added on top of it too, right? The maturity gets added on top of it, but the immaturity's still there.
I still like a fart joke, man. Like I still laugh at all the things I laughed at as a kid, pretty much. Like. Like I haven't like been like, oh, this is sophomoric. I'm too old for this. Like, nah. Like I'm just too old for like the stuff that kids are doing nowadays. That's all. But like stuff I grew up with, I'll watch a Bugs Bunny cartoon right now and laugh my ass off.
I love watching cartoons.
You know what I mean? So like I most of the stuff I watch is cartoons. I think that's why my comedy's so stupid. It's just because it's like I'm used to a non-reality based entertainment medium. So it's just like I get to just my mind wanders. Like, look how insane can this be?
How would you describe? I mean, people here like, oh, we got people shooting pictures. They don't know what's going on.
Yeah, they are very
we got big stars going on here in the boba spot. I mean, I guess it's one of those questions people hate to ask. But how would you try to describe your comedy style?
Oh man, I went to this exhibit the other last week with my girlfriend and
is
her
that
family.
the Banksy one?
Yes, the Banksy one, and there was a quote in there from him, and like that shit really hit home for me, like about how
you shared it on Instagram.
yeah,
right?
and I was like, that's really like my approach to comedy, and I think it was something like along the lines of like, good art should disturb the comfortable and comfort the disturbed, and like that's exactly what I want to do.
Yeah, I'd say that's an accurate.
You know what I'm saying? Like
description of what you try to
I
do.
wanted all the people who are like, yo, like I know I'm not the only crazy motherfucker or the only weirdo motherfucker or the only person that's went through this particular situation and had this like weird spin on it. You know, like you're not the only one. Like I'm here to tell you there are others. You know, you're not crazy or as crazy as you think. You know. And definitely, I've noticed that my comedy can, like, the more, like, traditional people, they're definitely, like, you know, clutching their pearls and, like, you know, like, man, why are you saying this to us? Like, you know what I mean? And I like, you know, because I want to be open. I want to share. Like, I want to talk about things that other people are shy about.
Now, were you like that before you started doing stand-up?
I was like that with like close friends and family and stuff like that. I've always been a very direct person. I've always been very open. Like, I don't really believe in hiding anything. I'm very open about pretty much anything I've ever been through. So, like, but, like, not, like, you know, with anybody who will hear me, but, like, you know, just, like, if we're close and I know you, yeah, I'll share, you know, my life experiences or bad things I went through. I don't really care. I'm not, like, a tight person with those kind of things. So I figured that, like, taking that into comedy and just having to open it up a bit, like, it was kind of, like, it was a little bit of an adjustment. And sometimes, like, when I'm writing certain things, it's like, wow, like, you know, like, I'm really about to tell people about this.
You're like, yeah, I guess I will.
Yeah, I'm like, it's funny.
Yeah, exactly.
So-
I was like, I don't know. I mean, if people believe everything we say is like 100% true or
Right.
anything, right?
Right. No, like, I mean, people love to ask you,
Yeah, they do.
did that really happen? Did I, you know,
Yeah,
like, I have
yeah.
a joke about prostate massages and like, you know, even other comics are like, bro, like, so like, what are those like? And I'm like, I really couldn't give you too accurate of a description. Okay. Like, the reality is okay. Like, that it did happen to an extent where like I agreed to it. And then as soon as I realized what was going on, I was like, no, stop, hold on, we're done. You didn't tell me what this was.
I'll
Like,
go just a little bit closer to you.
All right.
First of all, you can just like, pull it down. Like
All right,
that. It's
there.
like you're not going to break it at all.
All right.
Pull the arm.
There we go.
Just stay right there.
There we
Yeah,
go.
that's good. right
There we
there.
go.
Yeah, you know, the prostate massage, that's one of those things where like the rumors really float around that it's supposed to be an amazing experience. I mean, you see it like in movies like Road Trip, right? It's like,
Yeah, no,
I don't think I would ever fuck with it though, personally.
It's like one of those things where I imagine once you can kind of like break through that like entry level of it, you know what I'm saying?
The barrier to
The
entry.
barrier to entry, you know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, this is amazing once I'm here, but like
Yeah.
there's a big
Yeah, that's a big barrier to
tight,
entry.
you know, barrier to entry that is just like I don't really feel comfortable knocking down right now.
Yeah, I mean, I like to think I'm open-minded, but there's definitely a limit to my open-mindedness.
No, definitely, man. I'm gonna have to get a little more bored in life before I give that a try. Like a real full-hearted, like, I'm gonna let you wear me like a wedding ring. You know what I'm saying?
No, thank you so much, Vince.
Yes, thank you, Vince.
All right, hope you so.
Thank you.
So what are you having there, Jamar?
I got the Fruit Lover Spring. It's very fruity stuff. There's oranges and lemons, and I don't even know. I don't know.
So I'm rocking the Brulee Thai Latte, and yes, this is product placement, but you know what? Sonity is kind enough to let us use this place as a shoot location. They're hooking us up with a drink, so I'm more than happy to do product placement. Plus, honestly, like I say, you know, my wife and I, Chris, we do these boba reviews
Right.
all over throughout the Bay, and we're
this is-
100% real. And we say like this place is the gold
No,
standard.
this is delicious. I ain't gonna lie, right? I just had it. There's watermelon in there. Huh?
Yeah.
They're not playing around.
Yeah, I'm not really like with the fruity type drinks. Like when it comes to boba stuff, I'm really more. I've got a sweet tooth. You know, I like something like chocolatey,
Right.
really sugary.
Right.
Like you know, I like fruits on their own, but
Right.
like when the drinks, like I don't mess around. I want that diabetes, like you know, just
I mean, I gotta be in the mood for that kind of thing. I love a real decadent drink too. But usually, especially like throughout the day, I love tea. I love like fruit.
really. What kind of tea are you into?
like green tea.
Oh, really?
And stuff like that.
Oh.
Just like, you know, I love juices of all kinds.
Do you add anything to that green tea, or
You know, fruits and stuff like that.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'll throw like maybe
don't
like
just take it straight?
peach, or you know, infuse with like some peaches or something like that, or you know, whatever, apple. I don't really drink it straight. I like sweet too.
You
so,
don't drink coffee.
Not really. Not as a habit. I'll have an occasional cup or like one of them Starbucks Frappuccino bottle things occasionally or something like that. But I don't drink coffee like habitually.
What got you into drinking tea? I feel like when people tell me they drink tea, it's like their level of class just went up a notch. You know?
Right. No, definitely it wasn't part of like most people's experience where I grew up. But my dad always drank tea. Like even just like basic Lipton and stuff like that at first, and then he kind of leveled up to the celestial seasonings, the tension tamer, and all that stuff. So I grew up with that like in my house, and then from there I just kind of like kept branching out. Like growing up in San Francisco, you know, you go in any type of coffee house, there's different kind of stuff, and there's boba joints, all types of stuff like that. So you can kind of, you know, I played around with different stuff, and that's like I really figured I love like fruit drinks. Like I love different kinds of fruit juices. I love like pressed juices. Love smoothies. Like that's like I don't really drink a lot of soda either. Like I know I'm fat. Really? Yeah, I'm fat. Like I drink a lot of soda, but no, that's all like simply lemonade.
That's hilarious, man. Now you if I remember correctly, the first time we ever met, the first time I did stand up Alameda Comedy Club, did you live in Daly City for a while too? I
grew up in Daly City for like a part of like I went to elementary school there for a little while. My dad was married to a Filipino lady for like 7-8 years, something like that. And they bought a house together in Daly City. And
those who don't know, Daly City is the Philippines of the Bay Area.
Basically, it's literally like, you know, I've called it Little Manila.
Yeah,
like, you know
it is. It's exactly what it is.
Yeah. And I think it is like a sister city for like some place in the Philippines. Like,
is it?
Yeah, I've seen like, I read something about that. So I'm like, it's all coming together.
Because I remember, you busted out, you mentioned Long Silog. I was like, oh, he knows his shit.
I'm literally going to get some after this.
Oh, really?
I'm literally going to get some after this.
I was like, oh, he's legit. He knows.
I grew up in like a Filipino house, like from the age of like 7-8 years old until I was about 14. I had a Filipino stepmother who cooked her ass off. And I ate everything, man, all the time. So,
do you know Sinigang?
It sounds familiar.
So Sinigang is that's the one where it's really like what I would call the litmus test to see if you can dig Filipino food, because it's usually with pork ribs, and it's like boiled, braised, and it's got a sour like taste to it. Usually got tomatoes and everything. Got some greens in there. I'm not sure what the greens are called in English, because I just know what it's called, and like in Tagalog it's kangkong. So like, it's really on the sour side, and it's usually like pork ribs.
He says it has like tomatoes and stuff like that.
It's got some tomatoes. I
remember having that a couple of times.
Like to me, that's my favorite. Well, one of my favorites, Filipino dishes, but. You know, I would serve that to my non-Filipino friends, and they won't fuck with it.
Yeah, it's a little too deep for them.
Yeah, it's a little too deep. It's like sour soup. Like, you know, I guess like with Thai food, not everyone messes with it. That's
definitely.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, it's not. That's not for everybody. I mean, there was definitely things she made I just couldn't quite wrap my head around. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, or either like because of visually what it was, or just because of what it actually was.
Like dinuguan, you know that.
I don't remember the names of a lot of stuff.
So dinuguan is the blood porridge.
I've seen. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. See, I don't think she made that. I don't think because a lot of it was based off what her kids liked, because she had 2 kids of her own, and so like whatever they like to eat is what got made, and so we ate like a lot. It was a lot of just like regular meat stuff. Like one thing I liked in particular, it was like a pork chop, right? And I don't know what it's called. Like I said, she never would tell me the names of this shit.
Yeah,
she would just
like a server.
Yeah, she's like, bam. Yeah, she's just like, you gonna eat it or what? I'm like, yeah, I guess. Like, and you know, I figure out the hard way if I liked it or not. Yeah, but there was this one thing she would serve. It was like a pork chop of some type with like, I think it would be cheese, mushroom, and like some type of like coarse seasoning on it. And I don't remember what it was called. There would be egg. There was like egg mixed in with the rice and on the like scrambled egg or something like that on the pork chop, and it was fucking delicious.
Ooh.
I don't know what it was called, or if it like I don't know if it was just something she did, because I've never.
Yeah, it sounds like something that she just.
Because I never would see it. I've never seen it anywhere else, like any Filipino restaurants. I've tried to describe to other Filipino people. They're like, bro, we don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. It sounds like something she just created. I don't know. Probably what happened is she just had a bunch of ingredients at one point that she didn't use anyway. Right. So let me just try to put something together, and then she ended up liking it. Right, it was good.
And the kids liked it and stuff, and she was like, boom. And I mean, it's delicious. And I've tried to recreate it a couple of times, and like it's just like I don't know. I don't talk to the lady anymore. My dad divorced her, so We're not.
But you guys were family for 7-8 years, right?
Yeah. I still talk to a couple of like my step cousins I had. I was real close with them, and they were always real cool and stuff like that. And we played together and stuff as kids, and they're real cool people now and doing real cool stuff. So.
Yeah, because it's got to be a little bit bizarre, right? Especially because you grew up with her too. Does it feel bizarre to you, like the fact that you don't really have a relationship with your stepmom anymore?
Yeah, it doesn't really feel bizarre because of a lot of things that happened. Me and her had a very tenuous relationship. I'll put it that way.
Oh, we'll hear about it in your stand-up.
Oh yeah,
sure.
I got some stuff in the gun about it.
We'll save it. I don't want to give away those bits.
It was tough growing up with her, man. It was like it was definitely a situation where like. I never really felt accepted in that household because of that, because they outnumbered us. It was just me and my dad, and then her and her 2 kids. And my dad used to work nights, so it would just be me with them. You know what I'm saying? And as a little kid, you don't think, oh, like I'm not gonna fit in here. Like this is supposed to be my family. I'm gonna treat them like my family. But as time went on, I definitely saw that I was like still otherized. I'm married to your dad, but you're still, you know what I mean? So it was kind of like, and then like. With her, how my dad even knew this woman is crazy. My mom and this woman used to work together.
In the hospital?
No.
Is your mom a nurse too?
No. My mom's not a nurse, unfortunately.
Dental office, post office?
It was a retail. They worked at this place called Drug Barn.
Okay, I remember that.
You remember Drug Barn? It was like Walgreens, but before Walgreens. You know what I'm saying? And so, it was one of those in Daly City, right off in the Metro Center. Mm-hmm. I forget what's there now, but it was right there in the Metro Center, and they both worked there together. Like while my parents were still together, and like there was times where she would come over to the house for dinner, and like we'd play like Super Mario together and stuff like that. Yeah, and then what happened was my mom was like on drugs at this time, and like eventually like my dad left her. She goes, gets clean and stuff like that. While she's getting clean, I guess that's when they start to, and like one day I got picked up from daycare. She's in a car, and I'm like, oh, what's this? I'm like 6, so I don't, I'm not doing the math.
But something registered.
Oh, something registered. Like, oh, so it's just you now? Like usually because mom's there when we all hang out, and now she's not because mom's away, and now we're all together. Then of course, like she started being around all the time. Now I'm hanging out at her house. I'm not even going to the daycare no more. I'm like, oh, okay, life's changing. Okay, I'm like, I guess we're doing this.
Yeah, I don't know. Something about like Filipino morals when it comes to things like that. Like they're very like flexible, and stretchy.
No, people's morals, period, bro. Like,
no, but it's a very common story. It's not. Really? Yeah, so the common story is because it's very hard for Filipinos to immigrate to America from the States. Oftentimes, like only one family member will go first. They'll get settled, and then they'll petition the rest of their family and bring it over. And oftentimes, what happens is, it'll be the man of the house, the husband, the dad that goes over first. He lands a job, and then it takes a few years to bring your wife and kids over. And I wouldn't say more often than not, but it's definitely not a rare occurrence where the dude ends up having his another separate family in America.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and oftentimes more than not, it's another Filipino woman, and she knows that he's married and he has a family down in the Philippines. Right. But it's like, who cares?
Right.
Love is love.
Right.
Kind of thing.
So right. She's there. I'm here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's a very common story.
No, it makes sense. So. It makes a lot of sense, and I that doesn't shock me at all. And so she saw an opportunity definitely with my dad. My dad does okay for himself, especially like when he got a little bit later in life. Like, as I got older, he's definitely not like me. So
take that for whatever it's worth. If you guys know Jamar, you know what he means.
Yeah. I don't have a lot of money.
That's your IG handle, right?
Yes, I earned that. They didn't give that to me. I earned that. Okay, They don't call me poor homie Mar because my credit score is over 600. Okay, I wish.
Your profile pic on Instagram, is that you? It's not you, right?
No,
Who's that?
That's an old meme. Yeah. It's an old meme.
I don't know that meme.
There's this, I forget what the situation exactly was, but there was like some black dude somewhere, and it's like he's like on the phone and he's looking like he's calling the cops, and he looks like super concerned.
I don't know that meme. I was looking at it. This is definitely not Jamar.
Yeah, it's a combination of two things. It's that guy combined with who the rapper Cameron.
Yeah,
Killer Cam, the all pink outfits he used to wear. Yeah. It's one of his outfits, because there's a picture of him famously wearing that all pink outfit, and he's on the phone like looking in the camera like this. So they just replaced Cameron with like the snitching dude on the phone, and it's just like, I thought it was goofy, and I'm like, it's been my profile pic for like 5 years, and I don't think I got a better one.
I'm surprised you don't use it for, you have the flyers when you're doing the stand-up shows. It's just
just that. I got to put that guy that's who's coming. Like, he's performing tonight. Is he wearing the coat? Is he wearing the coat? That's what I want to know.
I bet you could show up and like people still wouldn't question and they would never dare like. They'll just say, okay,
that's him. Yeah, that's definitely him.
That's him.
Yeah, wear the glasses. They wouldn't know the difference. Like, he doesn't look like he talks like that, but he talks like that.
So you've been doing stand-up for, I know you started a year ago, but realistically speaking, because of COVID, you've only really been doing it for 6 months?
Since April.
Was there a part of you, like on the inside, that kind of always knew you had the mind of a stand-up? Here's what I mean by that, because like people have always told me like I have the fucked up mind of one just because of the shit I say when I shouldn't be saying it.
Right.
But I can't help it because there's a good joke to say there and I'm gonna say it.
Right.
And I can't even control it, honestly.
And it shouldn't be controlled.
Yeah. So there's always been like that with you too?
Yeah, pretty much. I think that's kind of always been a part of it. I've never really thought I would be a stand-up because I never wanted to perform in front of people. Like, public speaking is not something.
Never occurred to you?
Well, it occurred to me. Like one time I went to jail. I think you've heard my joke about, I was 16 days in jail, and like I had a bunch of different cellies while I was in there, right? Because in city jail, it's not prison or anything like that where you get locked up with
basically just a holding.
Yeah, it's basically glorified holding. You know what I'm saying? And like, your people are kind of going in and out. You know what I mean? So I had a bunch of different cellies even just during that like 2-week period, and one of the guys who was there for like one of the longer parts that I was there, you see me like kind of be able to talk to all these different guys about hella different things and like make them laugh and relate with them, like about cars, about sports, about, politics, life, whatever. And they're like, bro, like you can talk about anything. And one dude was like, yeah, man, you should be a taxi driver because you would just be great talking to people. And I'm like,
taxi driver.
And I'm like, you got high ass hopes for me, don't you? I was like,
driver.
Another cat jumped in. He was like, nah, you would be like a good ass like comedian or like a talk show host or something like that. And I was like, oh, like maybe I never wanted to be famous or be in front of people like that. Like now, yes, but
a taxi driver.
But yeah, that motherfucker said I should be a taxi. I'm like, no wonder you're in jail. Like, well, why is that? Like, that's as high as your brain aims. Like, no wonder you're here with me. Like, I'm here because I didn't pay unpaid traffic tickets. Like, you did shit wrong. I can tell because your brain doesn't work,
hilarious.
sir.
Oh my God. That is not where I was expecting.
Yeah, taxi driver. He was like, I'm like, yeah, way to you think I could do anything, can't you? Just drive a Ford Crown Victoria just around. I was living in Vegas at the time, so like he was like, yeah, just drive around people on the strip and just like, no.
Yeah, you're living in a city where there's a bunch of performers,
right?
And he thinks of taxi driver.
Taxi driver. Yeah. Which is like also. Let's look now. How many taxi drivers are left? Unless you work for Uber or Lyft, and then none of them people want to talk to you. I know I don't. If I'm in an Uber or Lyft.
Yeah, no. You know what's funny is like early on in my filmmaking days, it's kind of like stand up. You're struggling to get gigs.
Right.
You're not established at all. You have no portfolio. You don't know anyone. So I was driving for Lyft in the city, and I really enjoyed it. It was good money, but I remember every time a taxi driver would drive by me and they see that I'm a Lyft driver, and they would get so fucking pissed. Yeah, cut me off and everything. It's like, there's nothing stopping you guys from driving for a Lyft or Uber either. You can just easily jump over.
You literally could just download the app and turn it on right now and just continue driving the cab. But
I just didn't understand.
Now it's free. You're not even using your own car. You're using somebody else.
I just never got that mindset. You're not stuck in that position.
No, it's like it just evolved. The whole thing just evolves. Like I'm pretty sure like people who drove horses and carriages were like, oh man, these damn cars coming around fucking up my, these trains and airplanes taking away my business. Like, like okay, well maybe learn how to drive one of them.
That's the interesting thing, right? I don't know if I was reading an article or listening to a podcast where they're talking about how obviously since tech is getting more and more advanced, certain jobs are disappearing. Like they say, truck drivers are basically going to disappear, retail is going to disappear, but things that like really artisan stuff, like art, things that take like basically like a creative mind, it only becomes more and more valuable when that happens. So things like stand-up comedy, filmmaking, like there's really no fear of that really going away. And in fact, people are actually going to flock to it because it becomes that more valuable, especially. So I feel like, okay, that made me feel better. I'm not really afraid of. Well, it's not as if I have job security
Right.
now. It's like, because the filmmaking wasn't secure enough. I wanted some stability, so I decided to go into stand-up.
You were looking for the big bucks. I understand.
Yeah, exactly.
I get it.
Yeah, it makes my wife happy.
Yeah, I'm sure she's excited as hell. She's like, yo, so no more money. Cool.
I know.
Cool.
I wanted to get back to when you started stand-up, because Colin Casados, for those who don't know, is basically one of your homies. You're
Yes.
really close to him. Another great stand-up. He's been at it. How long has he been at it now?
I want to say about 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, so he's been at it definitely longer than us.
Okay.
He actually signed you up for the very first open mic
Yes,
in
he
San
did.
Fernando.
Yes, he did.
So how did that come about? I mean, had he been talking to you about it, or?
We had a couple like small conversations about it based off like the podcast we were doing. We were doing this, podcast, which is called Grind Time.
Yeah.
That's where the name comes from.
I love that name, actually.
And it felt just appropriate. Like, we both like football. We both love Deion Sanders. He's
Deion Sanders.
yes.
Oh, man.
I think
When
Colin's a
joined the
Cowboys
Niners that
fan.
one year?
Yeah,
Oh, my
he's a
God.
Cowboys fan. I'm a 49ers fan. So we
Yeah,
both
yeah.
had our little run with Prime Time.
I couldn't believe like the year he came in, they won. I was like, oh, that's so crazy.
I mean,
because
he-
the Cowboys have been killing them every year.
Yeah,
in the
but he
playoffs.
was all over the place. He
Oh,
was
yeah.
he was killing it. Oh my goodness.
Guys, some coconut pudding here.
Oh, this is the new specialty, right, Vince? So how do
Yes.
you recommend? How do we go about
So what
this?
you guys can actually do is you got the spoon, you guys can pour it in your own cup,
Okay.
in your bowl,
Oh, wow.
and then just heat it up. Yeah.
This is awesome. I wasn't expecting it to be served in an actual
Yeah,
coconut like that.
that's
yeah.
fucking
So you
dude.
put in the coconut pudding in the actual coconut,
Uh-huh.
or you can get coconut in the cup, which is like $5.
Oh.
Yeah, this is like $10.95.
Yeah, so
Oh,
for those
good.
who are listening and not watching this on YouTube,
Yeah, you gotta get a look at this.
The co-owner and the guy who runs Sana Tea and Dessert here, he just hooked us up with this coconut pudding
Wow.
served in an actual shaped coconut.
It's an actual real coconut
Yeah,
fell
yeah.
off a tree.
Yeah, you
beat
did
somebody
coconut?
over the head. You know what? I am not huge on it, but I
Me
am.
neither, but I'm gonna try it,
I'm
man.
I'm about to tear this out. I'm sure it's
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Like my favorite thing to have coconut on is a German chocolate cake. My dad makes
That's very specific,
It's
man. German chocolate
cake is but it was like this random thing that like I don't think my dad knew how to bake anything else, but he baked the hell out this German chocolate cake every like for Thanksgiving and Christmas, and like I ain't gonna lie, like the coconut part at first I had to get used to it, but it's like I miss it dearly right now.
Oh wow, look at that thing. It's
Okay.
almost it's
like-
like with like gelatin
I
kind
see
of
it, yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah,
We'll-
okay.
we'll see what that
Give this- Yeah, give this a little try real quick. You know what? That's actually like I'm usually not a fan of coconut,
Right.
but the coconut flavor here is light enough where I'm actually digging it, and it's not overwhelmingly sweet. It's
Right.
the sweetness is very subtle. I'm sounding like a real snob right now as I'm describing this, but that's how it is really.
No, it's actually good.
Yeah, like
Yeah. I mean, my big problem with coconut's always been texture, like the actual like
Yeah,
coconut
yeah.
texture. So, like this
Yes,
is
how do you guys make this? Yeah, I'm real curious. How do you guys make this?
Okay.
Yeah. This is really interesting because,
is.
yeah, folks, for those of you listening, it's really kind of more like a jelly,
yeah.
a gelatin thing. It doesn't have the coconut texture. The coconut flavor is not overwhelming. This is turning into a boba reviews real
Yeah,
quick.
but it's all good with me.
Yeah.
Gotta stay on brand.
No.
Yep.
No, man, yeah, that's good. I usually, like I said, I usually don't fuck with coconut, but
A bit of
This is
shell
awesome.
in there. No, this is good. It's like ice cream, but like jelly.
yeah. But you were saying, so you and Colin had been doing the pod. How did the podcast come about?
Mostly just from us working together. When I started working with him, we worked at this place that does like servicing forklifts, Toyota material handling. Toyota makes like most places you go to, if there's going to be a forklift in there, very high probability it's going to be a Toyota. So, yeah, we're working for them. And when I started there, he was probably already in there for like 3 to 6 months or something like that. So they actually had him training me, like when I first started. And like instantly off the bat, it was just like, chemistry. We're just laughing, joking it up all through there, pissing off our boss and shit like that. And like he instantly regretted having him train me, but there was no one else to do it. So they were just like, fuck. And, we kind of realized we had something. And then COVID hit and, we were still keeping in touch and stuff like that. And then finally after a certain, like we started to talk about maybe doing a podcast together. And it took a couple months of us like kind of procrastinating and also like us not really knowing how to, do it. Even to this day, we're still not.
Yeah, there's a bit of a technical hurdle.
There's
It's
a
not
technical,
that much,
yeah.
but if that's not your background at all,
Definitely
it's
not.
intimidating.
Right, right.
I gotta buy a bunch of gear.
Right. And like for me, that wasn't, especially with COVID and stuff, that wasn't super feasible for me. And that's why like we did come up with like doing these Zoom podcasts where like, we'd link up through Zoom and he recorded on his laptop and then upload it to YouTube. And so that's where, if you actually want to see these episodes I think we have 3 of them. They're on YouTube.
Just look up Grime Time.
Yeah, Grime Time podcast. I think there's like a weird like punk band or metal band called Grime Time. Ignore them. They're trash. It's all about us. But yeah, you'll see some of our episodes. There's one where like Colin looks like he's dressed like a Trump supporter. You can't miss it. It was very alarming for me to like jump into the Zoom meeting and he's dressed like that. And I thought I knew him. Yeah.
Was he living out of Manteca at this point?
Yeah, he's been in Manteca the whole time I know him.
Right.
Yeah. He's been out. He grew up in Hayward, but he's been out there for some time now, I think.
So at that point, was he already kind of like slowly like hinting, hey, you want to try stand up?
It took a little bit. Like I think it was after we did maybe a couple episodes of the podcast, and I think he was like, "Bro, like you ever want to try stand up?" And I was like, "Man, I don't know, maybe nah." It was just kind of like in the middle about it, like.
You're like, I'm thinking about being a taxi driver.
Right, yeah. I was told to do taxi driving. I think that's where my lane is. I think COVID has me redirecting, and I think I'm going to go get me a Crown Vic painted yellow and hit the streets. Like, I don't care about Uber or Lyft right now. I'm going to spit in the face of all that, all the market trends, and go for it. He was like, just, you never thought about giving it a try? I was like, yeah, maybe. So we started working together. We started working at this place called Raymond, also like a forklift servicing place. And he started working there a little bit before me. And then we had to go to a training together out in Manteca, where not too far from where he lives. So we were doing that for a week. And on Friday night, there was an open mic at this place called Vince's in Sacramento. And he was like, yeah, man, this is open mic in Sacramento, man. I signed this up. And I was like, okay, fuck it. I'm like, we're going to do it then. So, we did our training that week. And then that Friday, after we worked that day, I came back to his place. We changed clothes, rode up to Sac, and did the damn thing, man.
How'd it go?
It actually went pretty good, man. It like for a first time, I was nervous as hell. Like I had to get relatively drunk to get through it. Like at first I was cool. Like I first got there, I'm like, oh yeah, this is cool. Like now I'm seeing some of the other comics start to go up, and I'm like, okay, cool. Like I'll be all right. And then as it got like closer and closer to my turn, I'm like, holy shit. Like I started to just get like nerves, butterflies, all that shit. And I instantly go get me a pineapple and vodka. Like in Sac and these dive bars, they don't make the drinks regular, man. It's like literally a big tall glass. Then it's like vodka, then sprinkle some pineapple juice. And they're like, here you go. So I downed one of those very fast.
So you were fucked up.
By the time I got that Mac, I'm like, hey, you Sacramento, I got jokes, I think. And I don't do any of those jokes anymore. Like they weren't very like fleshed out or anything. I didn't really get to do a lot of writing for it. He probably told me about it, I think, a few days before. So I didn't really get to do a whole bunch of writing. I had like written other things, like either for the podcast or just like as like thoughts, you know what I'm saying? And like, so I kind of took some of that stuff in there. But it went pretty well. Like it went well enough where like other comics were asking Colin, like, oh, how long has your boy been doing comedy? And they were like, it's his first time. And they were like, what the fuck? Like,
They suck, man.
A couple of them did, but most of them were pretty good, actually. Like a couple of them are like people who actually do a lot of shows out there.
Ooh,
like,
cool.
And they're, they do all right. Cause like at that time, there just wasn't a lot of open mics going at that point. It's like last October. So this is kind of like when we kind of first started to emerge out of shutdown before we went back into that mini one, so like, it was kind of like a really good scene because of like the situation.
Were you bit by the bug right away after the first time?
It was a high like none other, man. Like I really came to really feel like comedy is my purpose in life. Like I've never really felt like I had a purpose. Like I've been working and doing jobs, I've been for since I've been an adult, and I've never not had a job pretty much. And I've never felt like whatever I was doing was like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. It's like more like this is what I got to do to keep the lights on and keep, food in my stomach. But this is never like, I feel like I like if I died doing this, I would fucking hate myself forever in hell or heaven, wherever I go. With stand up, it's like, it gives me a feeling of just like, this is where I want to be. This feels like home. Like the challenge of it the rush of it. Like, I don't get that from anything else I've ever done, man.
So it hit right away for you.
Right away.
And I asked that because for me, like, surprisingly, that first time after Alameda, it's not as if I did bad. I got some hard laughs. I don't know if you remember, but I didn't feel bitten by the bug. Like, I didn't feel the way that I thought I would feel. Like, I thought I would feel euphoric and everything.
Yeah.
More than anything, it was the challenge that got to me. Because, I think of myself as a funny guy. And it's just like, how do I figure this out so that it gets even better? That's what got me at first.
Yeah,
like now, I absolutely love it now. That I've been doing it, like 5-6 times a week for 3 months at this point. But that very first time, I was expecting to feel the way you felt, and it didn't. So it's kind of like confusing.
Yeah, it was just like a huge adrenaline rush. Like I've always been like a huge adrenaline person. Like I grew up skateboarding in San Francisco. I have a Corvette. I drive it very fast and reckless when it's running good.
Yeah, well, I have a Corvette.
Exactly. I don't know. They're cruising around doing driving their grandma. It's literally like it's not comfortable. It's not economical, and it's not reliable. But it does do fun shit. So like that's why So like I like to have those moments of like where my heart's pumping, where I'm challenged, where I don't know how this is going to turn out.
Was that your first time like performing in front of a crowd?
Yeah, pretty much. I think I maybe did like a talent show of some type when I was in like late in elementary or middle school. I don't know if that really counts because we all do that at some point, school assemblies or whatever. But I had never, especially like I've definitely never done nothing where focus is on me. And like it's just you. It's on you to make it happen. I've been the background dude in the school play, just doing the dance moves that the teacher told you to do. I've done that. That doesn't count. That's not the same thing. Even I grew up playing football. I played sports, and I played, high school football for a couple of years.
That's not really the same though, because it's
same thing. You're not on your own.
Yeah, you're not on your own.
You're not.
And there's a whole show going on around you with the sport and stuff, right? There's a lot of things going on. It's not just front and center you. Yeah,
so you're not front and center. I mean, there's a different aspect of it, especially with the team aspect.
There's definitely performance anxiety for sure.
For sure.
I felt it playing basketball. Yeah,
basketball's worse. There's less places to hide on a basketball court.
Yeah, I used to get so nervous playing. But because for me, I guess one thing like I don't know if you noticed about me. I actually used to be a theater actor.
Okay.
At a certain point. Oh yeah, I mentioned it in that little KKK meeting we had.
Like, what did you guys have?
Yeah. What did you guys? It's like. Yeah, the KKK is really expanding the boundaries of who they're letting.
Yeah, they're trying to change their imaging.
They're trying to get woke.
They're letting everybody in nowadays. It's ridiculous.
For those who don't know, we got like this circle of friends in the comedy world who call us. I don't know how it got started, but it's the Cool Kids Comedy
Cool Kids Club.
Or something like
Cool Kids Club, KKK. Comedy. Yeah. There might be more Ks we might have to add to avoid getting sued. I don't know. But as of right now, I'm like, sue us. I don't give a fuck you. Bitch.
So like for me, it's like the whole like performing in front of people where it's like front and center, like it never really bothered me because I was used to that. So maybe that's part of why I didn't feel like that adrenaline rush.
No, that's what it is, bro. It's like that fear of it's like if you're not worried about being in front of people, like that's where it came in for me, like because like I don't know if I knew I was gonna be funny or if I just was like I didn't really care that much. Like it was just more like I wanted to like get up in front of people and just be able to like speak. Like because for me, I didn't think that was gonna be possible initially. To like get up there and just start be able to like form coherent words, and it was something I had to like really wrap my head around, man. I knew I could tell jokes. Like I knew I could do that. Like I said, I do this shit with like my family all day. If you were to been in my house or my uncle's house Thanksgiving, like that's all I do is just talk shit about everybody the whole time, myself included, and just like the whole household, just like. Oh my God, dude! Like they're laughing, but they're also like, dude, like we're also trying to eat turkey. Like, can you not talk about my kids in front of them?
See, that's the one place where I've actually had to learn to kind of tone it down, like at family gatherings, because as I know, like they just can't take it. And
my family's ratchet. They're used. I mean, a big part of like my comedy comes from my uncle. I have my uncle that I was at his house. My uncle Dave. He's always been that dude. Hilarious, can roast anybody, quick-witted, just always, and that's when you would come over his house every holiday and stuff like that, and you're getting cooked. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just that's part of the story. And your mom's not going to save you, grandma's not going to save you, nobody's going to say we're all going to be there chuckling with them. Actually, so like, growing up with that was kind of like my first real intro into like being that person. I used to see him do it, and I kind of like, I just thought he was so awesome for it, and even like a couple of my cousins, real funny dudes, like, they're like more funny in like a crazy way because they're just not normal people. They do very different things and live a very different lifestyle than even me, and my lifestyle is kind of out there. So like, yeah, a lot of guns and things like that, but they're funny dudes, I promise. I'm not saying that because they're scary. No, but it's just different.
I want to end on this question because I did have a podcast before this, and before I would just let it run for like 2 hours, 2.5 hours.
Yeah, people don't want to watch all that though.
Yeah, it's just like
attention spans are short.
No, because I'm a big fan of Joe Rogan Experience because I'm just a big fan of just like genuine conversations, and there's like no format, no expectations, and he talks to like people from all over, conservatives, liberals, scientists, comedians, athletes, fighters. I'm a big fan of that, but I learned doing my previous podcast is like, for me, doing it on my own, it's just not sustainable that way. It's especially because I was trying to make a short film to introduce each, guest, and doing that basically mostly on my own. I was like, it's no surprise I only got as far as like 9 episodes. This is just too much.
It's a lot of effort, man.
Yeah. So I'm trying to keep this like more around 30 minutes, but like, like the next guest isn't here yet. I feel like I can talk to you all day, but I'm going to try to keep it more digestible. Right. So the last question I want to ask you is, like, in terms of being funny, do you think people are born that way? I mean, obviously, there's a little bit of the circumstances we grew up shapes it, but I feel like there's got to be some part of it where you're just born that way. Because I feel like there would be a lot more funny people out there if it wasn't that way.
It's hard to disagree with that. I mean, I think, like you're saying, your experiences form you more than anything. I think if you're more predisposed to humor, like growing up, then you're gonna have a better sense of humor. Like I was just saying about like my uncle and stuff like that. Like growing up with that, like is just a normal dynamic in a family household, made me more predisposed to that kind of humor and being like open with my life and open with shameful technically things or whatever, like, just as being something funny, because life is funny, man. It's just like, that's the truth of it, is life is ridiculous. Like everything that can happen to you is just ridiculous.
Well, that's a good way to look at it.
It is. It's just, that's how I feel about it, man. Like even the bad things that's happened to, that's why like most of my jokes are about bad things that have happened to me, because that's what it's humorous to me. Like, yeah, there's been good things that happen. That's cool too. But like when I look back and be like, oh man, like of course in that moment it was terrible. But like you look back on it and I'm like, okay, that was so like formative for me. Me not understanding what got me into that bad situation is fucking hilarious. Me being just totally stupid and non-self-aware. And, that's what, and being like, oh, wow, like I really thought that was going to work out for me. And I think that things like that form you and really can like give you a new take and a fresh take on things. Cause I think, being funny comes from a place of usually like, I don't want to say darkness, but like,
yeah, because it's what they say. Like all comics are like, to a certain extent, we're all fucked up in a certain way, and that's what drives us to do it. But it's also what makes us funny is, for some reason, that
trials and tribulations, man. Exactly. They're character builders, and like how you deal with that and how you like recover from those things makes you who you are. And those of us who tend to be comedians come out of that like with these ridiculous like takes on it, and that's what I like. That's what I love about doing comedy, is meeting everybody and seeing everyone go up and talk their shit and like give their ridiculous takes on their ridiculous shit.
I have to say, the one thing I've been surprised with really is how much of a like community and camaraderie. I know there's a lot of politics and bullshit out there too. Yeah, obviously, but I was just surprised with how much camaraderie there really is, and how like I'm the kind of guy that doesn't really I don't make friends easily, and I found like in the 3 months I've been doing stand-up, it's been a whole lot easier. It's like, oh, these guys have fucked up minds like I do. Like, they say the fucked up shit just like me. They don't get offended by it. It's like, it really is a collection of misfits, like they say. It is.
But like of all walks of life.
Yeah, that's the thing, right?
Like if you look at our Cool Kids Club, man, is like,
it's like the United Nations.
It's literally, it looks like a fucking like an ad for like Uniqlo or something like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or United Colors of Benetton or something like, you know what I'm saying? Just hella fucking just like the whole color spectrum is represented, and like different ideologies are like, you know, like we have a white dude from Alabama, we have an Indian dude named Newman, there's me, like there's like, you know, it just, you cannot go get a better cross section of people.
Speaking of Clayton, my Colin burned him so good at the hand grabs. Colin was on fire that night.
But Colin was going crazy.
Yeah.
He was great last night too, man. He was great last night, man. We did this show last night, Felix Harry.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Brick and Mortar, man. Real fun show, man. That dude's a real funny cat, Felix Harry.
I've never seen him.
I've
seen him at the open mics, but he's really just fucking around. He's not really doing.
Yeah, you got to catch him in his element, man. Yeah. He's great, man. With that comedy competition I won, like I was certain he was gonna win it, man. But I guess like he just barely went over his time.
Oh, Tommy T's.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you were telling me they're really like strict about
going
over
your like you'll lose points if you go over time, and like that's what kind of knocked him out of winning that thing. Because set wise, no, he's more than good enough to win it. You know, and real funny dude, man. Lots of energy. Like some of the best crowd work you'll like I've seen from like, you know, anybody who's not like on a major level yet. Yeah, man, he had a cool little crowd in there, man. And Jerry Law was there. He's dope, real up and coming dude out of Oakland. You know, and me, Colin, and Wally. So, and we're basically kind of gonna run back that show in a different order.
December 30th, right?
December 30th for Wally's big show there.
A few added people,
Dr. Natasha,
Andrew Arolfo, right?
Arolfo's, Arolfo actually came through last night.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he came through last night.
Spot?
Did a guest spot, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, me and him both did guest spots.
How was the attendance?
It wasn't huge, but it was good. Like he had a good group of people come out for him, and then we had like I want to say like maybe like just 6 or 8 people walk in off the street and come in and sit down. Just like literally just like, oh, what the okay, like, you know what I'm saying, and just
all in all, how many people, if you had to guess?
Like 20, 25.
That's a good amount, man. Yeah.
I mean, Brick and Mortar's not huge, you know what I'm saying, and like they're able to like kind of like socially distance the tables and stuff like that. A couple people, and the people showed up later, like Miss Ninja and her man, they came through later and stuff like that. So I think by the time it was over, it was probably about a good 30 people.
Yeah.
You know, so it was a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, 30 people. I'll take that any day of the week. I mean, as long as you're not, if the capacity is like 400 and you only got 30 there, it feels empty. Right. But if it's a smaller venue,
it's a pretty small venue. I mean, you can fit much more people in there. Like I do expect, I have a good feeling that Wally's gonna have that place like significantly packed out.
Well, he's got a lot more lead time to it too. Right?
That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, Felix didn't, I don't think, had too much time to get his promoted and stuff like that. But he still had brought out a nice crowd.
And Wally's a smart dude. He's really, you know, he's about like marketing, going outside of the comedy circle. Because like we said at that little meeting of ours, you know, the audience members aren't really going to be people in the comedy world. There's people outside of it. That's where you gotta like market.
That's all. What it's all about is breaking through to that. And you know, like we all love you know, we're all comics. We all love to watch each other because we're all comedy fans. But yeah, we need to definitely get to like tap it into the civilian mind. Yeah,
at the end of the day, it really is. You know, I saw Jay Rich even post this on, you know, on Bacon. It's like, yeah, being funny is great, but at the end of the day, it's really about putting asses in seats.
Yes.
Because it is a business.
Yes.
All right.
And if you got ability to do that, like you're gonna get ahead of. I was actually talking to somebody last night. Actually, it was Felix and Jerry Law, and there's a lot of people coming from radio into comedy, and they're getting booked really into like really good shows because as a radio personality,
they have their audience.
And you literally can just say, oh yeah, I'm gonna be at X and X comedy show at this place tonight, and built-in free promotion that normally you'd have to pay thousands of dollars for is now coming free to your show. You know, just off you booking this dude. You know what I'm saying? So it's you know, it's extremely worth it and valuable. No matter how good or bad that dude might be at stand-up, he's gonna bring 50 to 100 people just off the strength of his voice. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like
that's kind of what I'm hoping that this is gonna really turn into, because I've been for the past like year and a half, 2 years, I've really just been trying to build my own audience, even before, you know, stand up. It just says, because that's where the freedom is with anything. Right? It's like you have your own audience. So I'm kind of hoping this will help towards that. And it's just a great way to just talk. No,
I think it's great. I think it's gonna work, man. You got to produce content in this game, man. Like you got to be able to, you know, make a lot of things that people are gonna want to watch it from like different angles, and then just kind of like tie everybody together. You know, either with stand up or with, you know, your reviews or skits or whatever you want to do. Like, you know, that's just kind of like the game you play nowadays. I talked to lots of other comics, like headlining comics that I've done shows with, and they're like, yeah, man, social media presence is where it's at. You know, you got to get, make content, figure it out, figure out something you want to make it.
What kind of efforts are you making towards that end, and towards building your own?
At this point, none. I'm really trying to refine myself as a stand-up comic. That's really like my main focus. I am going to go to that point at somewhere. If there's different things I'm already like considering, and I mean, I do have the podcast with Colin, and we're going to get back to that. I do want to do something with car related. That's also comedy.
Yeah, you're
type.
really passionate about
love cars,
right?
man. So like, I would love to do like fake car reviews or some shit like that, like something I consider where I just fucking bag on cars and like the people who are just bring a Dodge Charger in and like, you know what I'm saying? I'll bring Wally in, let him do his joke, like, about him and like, just some shit like that. Just just like, there's something like that I kind of want to tap into. So those things that like I may be looking at doing down the line, I'm definitely gonna have to get on like TikTok. I don't have a TikTok account.
Yeah, neither do I.
But
I'm on old side for TikTok.
We're gonna have to do it, bro. That's where it is, man. That's where it is.
I know. It's like I'm kind of hoping to avoid
Generation
it.
Z got us by the balls, man.
I'm kind of hoping to avoid it. All right, I'm gonna end it here because I am trying to keep it.
Oh, definitely. Let's get out of here.
We've been going for 15 minutes already, and my intention was to keep these around 30 minutes.
Right.
So there you go. All right, so Jamar, I mean, obviously, I'm not exactly sure when this is going to come out yet. I'm shooting for these today, but where can people find out about your stand-up dates?
Definitely. Follow me on Instagram, Poor Homie Mar, all one word, Poor Homie Mar, M-A-R. I'm on Facebook too, Jamar Pitts. Instagram is probably the best place to find me. I post all my bookings on there. I got a lot of shows coming up in December, especially the second half of December. Wally show. I'm hosting a show for Felix at Tommy's. We got our Grime Time stuff. The show me and Lonnie are putting together in Pacifica.
Yeah.
We're lots of stuff's happening, man. So follow me, keep in touch. A lot of fun stuff's coming up.
Yeah, you guys will see me at all those shows in the audience cheering them on.
Well, hopefully you'll do a couple with us too, man.
All right, so thanks, Jamar. Thanks for being on, man.
No, definitely. Thanks for having me.
Cherry. You're the first one today.
I appreciate it. And then thanks to for this delicious drinks.
Thanks to Sana Tea and Vince for hooking it up with the drinks and the coconut pudding.
You see how beautiful this is? Look at that. Look at that.
All right. See you guys.
All right.
Hey, guys. So thanks for tuning into the podcast, and a big thanks again to the fine folks at Sonity for letting us record the podcast here and for hooking us up with their delicious boba milk tea drinks. My wife, Krista, and I review boba milk tea spots all over the Bay Area. Believe me when I say that Sonity is definitely one of the best boba milk tea shops around. Make sure to follow them on Instagram at SAN as in Nancy, and as in Nancy again, A19, that's sana.na19 on Instagram. And if you're listening on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, make sure to hit that follow/subscribe button and make sure to give us a 5-star rating to give us some algorithm love. Okay? Thanks for listening.